What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Floyd Park. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, let's start off by saying Happy Thanksgiving, and with that, thank you for watching my video. Now the plan for today is going to be simple. As you saw on the thumbnail, today's video is going to be about testing out a new reel, and I kind of just want to explain why. Now over here, of course, this is my Bass Pro dough baits. This is a very light setup, something that I've caught many fish out there before on. Now this is a fairly inexpensive rod. I got this even on a sale, I think 50% off as well. So it's a very cheap rod, but you've all seen that I've caught many fish on this before. There is, however, one small problem. If I start reeling, you can hear that is not a very good sound for this reel to be making. Now, of course, I can open it and see what's wrong, maybe fix the problem, but I think it's about time we replace this old reel. Alright, so after looking at quite a large selection of replacement reels, I remembered seeing a video about 4 years ago about the Pflueger brand. It's something that I've never fished with before. And to be fair, as far as reels go, they aren't that expensive. Depending on where you're buying them, it can be anything from $50 to $100, all the different ranges in between. So it is not a super expensive reel, something like $500 or $1,000, but it is still a lot more expensive than the reel we had on this little setup. But the main idea is having a reel that I can use as a light setup, as well as using it for some different applications as well. Now, at the moment, I have on here some 6-pound fluorocarbon line. Why do I have 6 pound? Well, that's simply what I had to put on this reel. So just put that on there. If I go lighter, I might get a better casting distance. We can pretty much fight any type of fish on a setup like this. Now, of course, making my way to Floyd Park, the idea being that last week they stocked this pond with some trout, thinking that with the cooler temperatures, trout will be the easier fish to catch out there. But we're going to try with all sorts of lures and stuff. The main idea is going to be seeing if we can finally catch a fish on this new reel. As well as throwing that, I have a second rod out there. That one is just with some power baits. The idea being I'm trying to figure out where the fish are. Of course, being stocked a week ago, the fish can be anywhere. I'm starting off close to where they stock them, but these fish tend to go to deeper waters to hide from predators, or if they're being chased by the cormorants, they might go into the shallow waters. So you're going to have to move around and try and figure out where the fish are. But other than that, the only way to get the fish is by making a couple of casts, seeing if we can find any fish. I have to say I'm quite impressed with the reel thus far. Very smooth feeling. I'm used to having some plastic reels. Plastic tends to be a bit lighter, whereas this is some kind of metal. It feels a lot more sturdy. And I think what I need to figure out is this thing has quite a good gear ratio, so when I'm reeling in rather quick. I need to try and slow this presentation down, especially when it's this cold. We have snow on the mountains. That means waters are cold. Fish are going to be lethargic. I have to slow down my presentation. One little thing I have noticed, there is no reverse sitting on this reel. Quite simple. The little arm we have on here, that does not actually screw in like a regular one. That screws counterclockwise to fix it to your reel. So if you had a reverse setting on here, you're most likely just going to loosen your own handle. Alright, but for now, I'm going to stop talking, make some casts, focus on reeling in slower. Alright, so I've been throwing around an assortment of different rooster tails in different colors, trying different sizes and different colors all over. And so far, a little reel has been doing pretty well. Nice smooth action. Really happy with it as is. But for now, I'm swapping over to my jigging setup. For a simple reason, I'm going to go for a drop shot rig with some power worms. This is what I was talking about when I said I want something versatile. You can use this reel on different setups, different ways to use it, different techniques to fish. Now the idea with this is going to be down on the bottom and very slow, gentle movements. So I'm going to throw that around. If I have any action, I'll bring you guys to it. So I've been getting quite a lot of hits on the little power worm. But every time they seem to grab the tail, they pull the thing back like this. So little power worm still working pretty well. Like I said, I have power baits out there as well, but I've been getting more hits on the little power worms. So I'm going to keep throwing that around. And there we go, guys. First little fish. This is on the power worm. Decent sized one. Alright, so that's our first fish landed on the new reel. Remember to wet your hands before touching the trout. We had him hooked in the top lip. Decent sized stocker. Let's get him back to the water. And off he goes. First little fish for the new reel. Pretty decent fight. But I have to say that reel can handle that size fish quite easily. And the quicker reeling action brought that in a lot quicker than I thought. But we're on the board with our first fish. And there we go, another little trout on. Still using a little power worm, just swapped colors. Don't have my net with me, so we're gonna boat flip him. Hopefully he stays hooked. There we go, decent sized one. Quickly just want to wet my hands so we can get the hook out. Alright guys, so lovely decent sized one. Not going to release this one. Going to give this one to one of my fellow anglers. This is Christian. He's been talking to me quite a lot. He's going to keep this little fish, so just going to give it to him. Alright, that's our second little fish on the new reel. That one was quite a good size. Lovely to get that one. The bite has been quite slow today. No hits on the power baits at all. But these little power worms down on the bottom, slow movement, that seems the fish are interested in slow moving things down on the bottom. Now I've heard from fishermen all across the lake, you do get fish on power baits, but the power bait bite is very slow, and that is something you'll find happening whenever these fish are stocked. The first week or so, they're pretty well on the power baits, but as time goes on, they start moving away from power baits, going for more natural baits. So never just try one particular method. If you're not getting any fish on power baits, try moving around some lures. And there we go, our third little one. That's now 3 stockers, all on the little power worm, all on the new little reel. Very pale looking, not as vibrant colors as some of the others in the other ponds, but fun to catch these fish. They put up quite a decent fight. Again, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'm going to give this one away. We're not going to return him to the water. They will make for a good proper meal. Alright ladies and gents, it took me 4 hours to get 3 fish out there. Now that's where I'm going to stop, because in these park ponds you're allowed to keep 3 fish per licensed angler. That of course does not mean you need to only catch 3. You can catch as many as you want if you release them safely, but you're only allowed to keep 3. But for me, I mean catching 3, that's the goal. Now of course the idea was to test out the new reel, and I'm very happy with how that reel works. I am quite rough on my gear. You will normally see me just throwing my rod on the ground and rather focus on the fish. That means I'm not giving the attention to my gear, and that is simply why my gear tends to break from time to time. And that is one of the main reasons why I always go for some cheap gear, because I'm not protecting my stuff. But as I need to replace this stuff, it's better to try and step up, get some better gear. Now, of course, I'm very happy with this little Pflueger reel. It's nice and smooth, fights the fish pretty well. If you think I made a mistake going for this particular brand, please go down in the comments and tell me why. But as a bit of a more expensive but still cheap reel, I think it is well worth the money. Now, of course, I still need to test this reel with some bigger fish, maybe some catfish or some stripers. But for the light setup, it works pretty well. Light line, good casting distance, good smooth reeling action, and good drag. Alright, but I think that's going to do for this video. Once again, I want to thank you for watching and following me on this trip. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing so, hitting the big red subscribe button, joining my community. And of course, please do give me a little thumbs up on the video for at least getting some fish on the new reel. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them down in the comments, and feel free to leave any comments as well. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.